Audio? Yes. Good morning, everyone. I think that the audience kind of like split another section going on the other side. Please excuse the noise, and hopefully those attending here can hear as well. It's going to be an interesting discussion, so hopefully we'll have some time for Q&As, and if anything comes up, please just raise your hand and we'll try to answer it as best as possible. But my name is Yoel Alvarez. Intro's coming up here. I'm a cybersecurity professional with just over 15 years of experience. I work for an MSSP in the area. AI taking center of attention for most of the presentations these days, given the impact. So Jess and I put together a presentation that I think has a different take on AI and the impact on society in general. But we're hoping to open it up for discussion and then make it interesting enough for everybody to interact with us as we go through here. Jess?
All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. So great to see so many young people here. Yes, okay. I'm Jessica Hoffman. I work for the city of Philadelphia. Really love our, okay, that's what I was waiting for. Okay. I'm the deputy CISO for the city as well. So, I'm really excited to be talking to you all here because cybersecurity is so important to safeguard our data. Background in audit compliance, and yes, I love long walks on the beach. God. I guess. So why are we here? What are we talking about? Ethical considerations for the usage of AI in marginalized communities. Oh my gosh. So if you're familiar with Philly, great city, but yes, we have some marginalized communities. There are communities right here in our city that don't have proper broadband, that don't have, I'm losing my, hello? Okay, hello. The mic's still here, okay. We don't have proper internet access. We are behind in technology. Hello. So, is it me? Okay. All right. We have a digital divide. We have a digital gap in our technology. AI is not any different, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today, how the usage of AI as well as tech in general has impacted our ability to progress technologically. All right, let's talk about it.
Hopefully the change in volume doesn't impact that y'all can hear as well here. But it's interesting that as we were talking about how to put together the presentation, we usually look at this AI world from the technical point of view. But we tend to ignore, to an extent, the social component of cybersecurity. So I was thrilled when she mentioned that this was the idea for the presentation because we get an opportunity to feed on that impact of AI that has nothing to do with the full development, with the tools that are going to use it, rather the consumers of those products at the end, the society. So when we look at the challenges that were presented here, you're going to get a better idea of the full presentation, right? And as you mentioned, those communities that don't necessarily have full access to information, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be impacted by AI. And these are the challenges that we're going to discuss here. One is, of course, access to information. And then we'll be looking at the impact of using AI for the tools that will craft the information that these communities get, the volume of information that is generated given the new tools available for AI. And again, these tools are not dependent on regulations or full development to be available. This is the ChatGPTs of the world already available. The image generators, the video generators, the voice generators that are available for anyone and everyone to use. So the challenges that we're talking about exist today. This isn't related. Volume? So no mic? Oh, whatever works best, yeah. So as we look at what can be done now that most of these tools are available today, and the level of information is already reaching those communities on how limited fashion that is. The way they get the news, the way they get the buzzwords, the way they get calls or simple media having an impact on their daily lives. We're talking about someone applying for benefits. We're talking about someone doing research on a school or a medical assistance or something related to their day-to-day life. The volume of information they get is massaged, is controlled, and to give you more context, anyone that has interacted with an online portal today has to face a chatbot first. And then maybe if you're lucky, you'll get to a live agent. But you have to go through that filter. Now, if someone that doesn't necessarily know how to navigate that technology, that brings to enhance the gap we mentioned already for communities that don't necessarily have that up to date. So as we go through the presentation itself, we'll talk a little bit about regulations, how that has an impact on transparency of the development of these tools, the use of these tools, the level of misinformation, especially around volume of data being posted today. And again, we're not waiting for this to happen. This is already happening. The scam, the calls, the texts, the emails, the presence on social media, and I'm talking about across generations, across audience, right? This isn't just for those communities we're talking about. This is across the board. And of course, the level of awareness that we have today and the level of awareness we hope to have to help not only, like I said, these communities, but across the board. I do not know if this is working. I'm just like pointing at it. We're good? Thank you. But you may wonder, okay, how do we get to that level of visibility into what these tools are doing and the ones being developed will do eventually, right? And unfortunately, we have to rely on larger scopes. What I mean by larger scopes is regulations at a government level, at a local level, at a workplace level, but I want to bring it down to a home level. Because we talk about awareness here, and I love it that we have an audience that is looking and seeking information about this, because you have to go back and talk to your peers at home, talk to grandpa and grandma if they don't have access to any of this, or to the kid that is being exposed to that online. So we talk about regulation from the highest level, and we take a page of what's common for all of those, and what we can do at a home level, and hopefully spread that information beyond home and take it there. I'm going to briefly cruise through this, but I think we can summarize it that the main focus of what is being done in the European Union, what is being done here in the US, what is being done at a state level, the common denominator is about privacy of the data, avoid profiling of anyone that has data massaged by AI, avoid creating answers to solutions and requests just off of an automated system, and have some human oversight, not only on the development, but on the decision-making process by those AI. So I love what the European Union did, in addition to giving us the USB-C port on the iPhones, right? They highlighted on the regulation of the bat what is unacceptable, period, for anything AI-related. And I love it because we know that anything coming from the EU has a lot of teeth in the development of these tools. And we do take a lot of notes from what is implemented on the EU and bring it to our own executive orders that are happening at a federal level, but also at a local government level for us here. We have an example for the one we have here. We can go over the details, but this is just a summary. I do encourage people, please, to go back and at least give it a glance. It is very eye-opening. It is very detailed on what to look for if you're trying to develop your own security measures to fight what AI could be and to fight what AI is today. And again, we're talking about social scoring. How do we classify the data that we're massaging? This has an impact, like we mentioned, on those communities today. Let's talk briefly about what the U.S. is doing. And I mean, I'm not happy about it. We have an executive order that was signed because we had a summit in Europe, and we had to go into this summit with something signed. But we didn't have anything because what first went through the House, it didn't get anywhere. And what then went to Congress is still in Congress. We haven't seen anything there. So thankfully, something at least was signed. I mean, it looks like it was written by 10 different people and put together. But hey, it is something. The common denominator is, of course, privacy, data security, development oversight, and then accountability after the fact. If you can and don't present the way it's done. How do we give that teeth? Well, we'll see that implemented as we make progress on these things, right? I do want to highlight at a local level for us, and this is just a snapshot from like a week ago or so, about a lot of the states that are taking action on AI already. And you can see the color code, the states that have proposed legislation, those that have enacted, and those that have enacted and proposed actually. But you see a lot of gray, and that is the states that is waiting for something at a federal level to do because they haven't done anything at the local level just yet. And this is state level. Thankfully, PA is one of those that does have something. Again, we fall on the same category, looking at privacy, the use of personal data, biometric data, how is that being used? Is it used to profile those that enter the information, those that use the tools? And then, of course, it includes language around data privacy for HIPAA, PCI, PII, which is language around personal information for the most part. But this is the executive order. I want to actually pass it on to Jess. She had some say on that, and she has, of course, more context to this, which is important for us.
Thank you, Yoel. So, right. So as I mentioned, I work for the city of Philadelphia, but I live in Pennsylvania, and as you just saw by that map, every state is a little different when it comes to privacy. Period. First of all, who cares about their privacy in this room? Thank you. Because a lot of times, especially young people, you don't care about your privacy. It's already out there. Who cares, right? I know, this presentation we're talking about artificial intelligence, but it's all connected, right? So I was just actually at a state conference yesterday, which was really dope. The theme of it was protecting our data across the board and accessibility, usability, accessibility, providing value, right? Instead of having a 10-page document that you got to complete to get food stamps or get some kind of Medicare coverage for the state, let's, as Yoel mentioned, have like chat bots, right? So you can speak to what you need exactly and get rid of all the fluff, right? So usability of the forms from a state level, city level, municipality level, right? We can have benefits, and we'll go into that of AI. But what I wanted to share, though, is that the state of Pennsylvania is actually really far ahead of the game. The Department of Homeland, they put out a lot of money to each state, billions of dollars related to cybersecurity, implementing cybersecurity. So Pennsylvania, we're like one of the first 3 states that responded back with our cybersecurity strategy plan for that money. And what that does is it puts us all on an even playing field for every single county, municipality, city across the state of Pennsylvania. And with that money, we're able to invest in the safe and secure usage of AI. We're able to invest in usability of these state applications and local applications that we need, especially in the marginalized communities. Because let's be honest, all right? In the cities, inner cities, we have a lot of poverty, right? And that is a lot of attributed to why we don't have the tech. We don't have the skills that we need. And if you don't know, I'm going to give a pitch real quick. Go out there in the vendor. We got Blacks in Cyber, Black Girls Hack, Women in Cyber, all of that, because we need to make sure that we continue to provide awareness to all these things. But at a state level, we are actually in a really good place, forward thinking, like how is AI going to impact everybody, right? Not just, I know we're talking about marginalized communities, sure, but really AI impacts everybody, and we need to be aware of what data is being collected. What are they using it for? That transparency issues.
I think that this overlaps with what we're trying to explain in the presentation itself, right? We can talk about the benefits of providing some oversight on this, but this is just a highlight. And we're going to touch base on a few. But of course, hopefully this sparks questions on your side and we can go from there. But oversight at all levels. And this isn't just a government issue here. This is us making the decision on what tools to use and how do we advise those close to us that matter, either a coworker or a family member or someone with an audience that has the ability to express his thoughts, right? Oversight, it inevitably takes to compliance. You have to have a set of requirements for how these things are implemented and how these things are being used. But those of us that have had to do a form for anything medical related or school related or benefits related knows about red tape and how many steps you have to take to get to that final decision of a yes or a no. So what we're hoping to see is the oversight and the controls ease that process into the decision making, but hopefully it does have some human oversight on that step. of a yes or a no, or an approval or a denial, or the next steps to take. So the development of those tools has to follow a set of rules that we're hoping to see in these regulations that have, like I said, I keep using the word teeth, that has the ability to deny a development of a tool says you are not complying with X, Y, and Z, you're not allowed to continue. We are seeing here industries that have regulations, look at healthcare, look at overall data processing, and we see them bypassing and finding ways to circumvent the regulations constantly. We see them misusing this, and at the end, was that a fine? Something that has an impact, but they continue to do business. So it's up to us to create the awareness and not rely on that regulation alone to have an impact. That's where we talk about expedite processing for the information, yes. Response time to get the answer, yes. Automation to get the answer, yes. But at the same time, was all of that process thoroughly documented? So if I have a way to challenge it, we hope that automation in general and AI has the ability to catalog all of that and build a file that we can go back and reference if we need to fight it, if we need to present it again, if we need to say, hey, you need to reapply for the benefits because the documents just disappeared. Well, we're hoping that this solves a lot of that background to make it happen sooner rather than later. Of course, with that, there's going to be risks. Jess, if you want to talk a bit about this too. This is kind of correlated to the challenges we talked about. But again, the challenges are more like overall. This is more specific to what we see today happening. So, Jess?
Sure. Misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, all those things, right? You can sum it up as bad information, right? So you probably know like AI can do the voice generation, picture, photo, all that stuff. So, imagine somebody who doesn't know about AI, doesn't know that type of technology exists, and they get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning from a grandson, needed money, and it sounds just like them. So that goes back to us talking about spreading awareness, taking this back, right? So just understanding what AI can do. And I mean, we honestly don't even know all the things it can do yet, right? Because it's still pretty much in beta. And that's number one reason why a lot of government aren't adopting it fully yet. I mean, going back to the PA state, they're looking at it. They have a lot of programs. Code PA is one of them. There's a lot of opportunities for you young folks out there to get into this space, because AI is going to generate a lot of new opportunities, a lot of new positions, and on the benefits of this as well. But from a risk perspective, the misinformation is real. And that could impact, that's like stealing money from somebody that doesn't even have money, right? And we need to be very careful there, or stealing benefits, going back to that. Being able to, we all know about identity theft, but that impersonation as well, especially with the facial recognition and all that, right? You can literally copy somebody like that in like seconds, right? Of videos, content, we've been talking about that. Some things like around like healthcare, that could be a compromise as well if we don't have enough information on what the healthcare is needed for each of the community. Going back to the forms, I mean, could you imagine like something simple like a college application or something? Like, let's put it in context for us, or scholarship application, using a chatbot to be able to streamline that. Well, it would be so much easier and beneficial for those people who aren't tech savvy, who don't speak English, that have restrictions and disadvantages. And I'd also like to say it's not always just about disadvantage from a knowledge perspective. It could be disadvantage from a physical aspect too. That's the accessibility, or even disadvantages from you don't have the tech, or you have crappy tech, or whatever, right? So the risks, as far as what we can see right now for sure, is absolutely privacy, and it's awesome to see so many of you care about that. I'll let Yoel touch on some of the other things, but I will say legacy system perspective kind of ties into the disadvantage of having low tech. We're going to see a lot of outdated technology that just can't keep up with it. And that's nothing new. For those of you who've been around, that is nothing new, right? We got to accept the risk, watch the risk, mitigate the risk, all that risk stuff. But this could potentially further that divide.
Yeah, to that context, those of us that have been in the industry for a minute know that you always have that one server, that one system that lingers. It's just, you can't get rid of it, right? So how is that going to be integrated into the next fast solution? Well, we see that as the bottleneck and the security flaw that might have a wider impact than we originally envisioned, especially since a lot of these AI-capable solutions are going to be rushed to the market because they don't want to miss out. It's the fear of missing out. And we see that being displayed everywhere. So with that rush, we tend to ignore compatibility, we tend to ignore integration and the ability to have those legacy systems feed information or receive information from. So be aware of those. And again, as much as we try to expedite or want to see expedited the process to get that final answer, we see legacy systems as the one holding that back. There will be one that is going to be just saying no, waiting for something to respond that should be a second, right? But again, risks about privacy and confidentiality, we talked about it, and we love to see the regulation take place on that. But best practices, and I know, Molly, you're going to love this because I mentioned vendor risk management, and we talked about that recently. Awareness and training, and I have to insist on that because at home, we try to avoid talk about work, right? But yet here we are, mentioning, hey, I learned this. I'm seeing this be implemented. I'm seeing this being a reality today. So that's the easiest way to translate something into plain English for everybody to understand. The moment we mention artificial intelligence, they're like, huh? But if you say, hey, the volume of information you're seeing now on social media, on the news, on the way the paper is coming in, on the way you're receiving information is definitely being impacted by AI. Because you can generate it within seconds. Instead of having to spend a full week developing a short video, you can literally have something get a text and develop a full length of something can be posted also instantly. So if you think that I'm trying to massage a subject or something that is important, I can have a full room of people developing content about an idea, and I can change the perspective on that idea. I can actually massage the data to the extent that, okay, I might not hit the full community, but most of it will. If I try to do it on a generation, I put it on TikTok. If I try to do it on an older one, I put it on Facebook. Guess what? I'm hitting the wide spectrum of generations with the same video, the same content that I didn't generate. I was paid to massage the data. I implemented it, and it's out there today. This isn't something that is coming down the pike. So awareness and training, adding the human oversight is also a best practice, like I mentioned. If you have the ability to at least control how that's being done, please do so. If you have the ability to minimize the privileges on this AI tool before something is published, before something is automatically generated and is out there, you stop it, you provide the oversight, and then you allow it access. It's like giving it keys to the kingdom. I do have an example of someone enabling some AI in social media, and the thing just started posting videos by itself. It didn't even ask for consent or, hey, do you approve of this? It just followed a profile. It built what this content creator likes doing, and it came up. Thank you. I know, right? But the risk management that we have to do is about verifying those sources. It's about having to go back and say, hey, are you aware of this? Talk to your peers. Talk to the trusted sources that you have. And if you don't have someone to reach out to, there's plenty of information available today that you can go in and get. But just base your research on those trusted sources and then make a decision. Don't just rush it because of the buzzword. You have to find those sources. Keep up with the news. I mean, I know it's too much, too little time. It's just coming at you like a hurricane, right? But I think that it makes sense for all of us to at least take the time, do the research, spread the love, and spread the awareness. But I'm going to leave you guys with some final thoughts from Jess here, and then I'll add some of my own at the end too. But AI is here. We just have to embrace it. We have to be aware that it's here. We have to be aware that it's impacting us today. This isn't coming tomorrow. It is having an impact. We don't have to see the next ChatGPT being released to know that you are getting information generated by AI. And again, this isn't an antivirus. This isn't like a full product. This is live and available today to all of us.
I know we're wrapping up. We'll be around if you guys want to talk after, but I just want to leave you. I'm a huge fan of generative AI. I use it all the time. I teach at Penn State. I tell my students to use it. Yes, I do. Why? Because there's a time and a place. You use the ChatGPT to get your thoughts across or reword something, and then you do your research and fill in the blanks. These are tools that we need to embrace, not be afraid of, right? So I challenge you to use them in a safe, secure, and responsible way, and that's what we need to be sharing that knowledge, as well as the potential abuse of it to those of us that know family members, know friends, that might not be as tech savvy as you are, okay? Because we are brilliant here. You guys are brilliant. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'll check you guys later. Link in with me. Oh, sorry, behind you here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to leave you on one last thought. Although we focus the presentation around communities that need the most help, for anyone here involved in security awareness training at a local level knows that you have audiences within your environment that pay no attention to this. So those that are not acknowledging the importance of being aware of these things are as vulnerable as those that have no access to information. So when we try to extrapolate this into the work environment, into our schools, into our homes, look at it through that lens. It's like, what's the difference between ignoring that technology is there and not having access to it? What's the difference between not using it at all or ignoring that it's there and just like saying, well, do I really need it? And move on. Well, think of that and use that as a subject to develop your next tool. The next time you talk about this, the next time you do some research, is like, who is the most vulnerable? Who is the most exposed, and how can I help? Thank you so much.